Come forth, friends and students, and learn what the Rune Knight will bring to your fighters. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire, continuing on with the 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons Rune Knight build. Today, taking a look at the abilities that this subclass option will bring to bear for your fighter class. And they will bring quite a lot to you. A great amount of battlefield control, damage increases, all the things you would really want in a class. It's just icing on top of the cake of awesomeness that is the fighter. But before we get into those specific details, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or if you're already part of such a legendary roster of fine folks, then go on down, hit the like button, and share the video far and wide to help us spread word about the channel further and farther. But now, with all the self-aggrandizing and promoting out of the way, we'll go ahead and just get on into this here and dig into these details. So, to begin with, the Rune Knight, being that it's a subclass for the fighter, you're going to get all these fighter abilities with it, so we'll be covering this as well. And to that end, you will be proficient with all armor and shields, simple weapons, and martial weapons. This will afford you a great deal of protection in the midst of a fight and give you some incredible damage-dealing options, ensuring that very rarely will you ever be without something that you can use. You're also going to be proficient with strength and constitution saving throws. These throws are important enough that they're not bad, they're good to have, and the fact that you have both of them is great. Although it is a shame that you're missing out on things like wisdom saving throws, where a lot of illusions and enchantment effects will be going. You will also gain proficiency with 2 skills. I recommend you take Perception and Athletics. You'll be making frequent use of both of those, in particular Perception. Perception will do a lot to help keep you from being ambushed and surprised. And then, for your first level ability, you're going to be picking a fighting style. And I recommend you pick Dueling for this build. You'll get a +2 bonus to damage with one-handed weapons. This way you can take a shield for extra armor class as well. And this will help to level out your ability to put out damage very, very well, because it's just a flat +2 bonus for any one-handed weapon. Then you also get Second Wind at first level. As a bonus action, you can regain 1d10 plus your fighter level in hit points. After you use this, you have to have a short rest or long rest to use this again. So again, not bad. This is something you can do to keep yourself healed and in the fight. This gives you quite a bit of longevity and frees up your party from having to worry about healing you as frequently, especially if that's dire in the midst of a fight. Then for second level, you get Action Surge. On your turn, you make 1 additional action. You must have a long or short rest to use this again. At level 17, you may use this ability twice, but it has to be on separate turns. It can't be twice in the same on the same turn. Then for third level, you pick up your martial archetype, and obviously we're picking Rune Knight. You gain proficiency with smith tools when you do so, and you can read and write and speak giant language. You also gain the Rune Carver ability, which allows you to learn 2 runes, and this increases at 7th level to 3 runes, 10th level for 4, and 15th level for 5 runes total that you learn. Every time you gain a level as a fighter after selecting Rune Knight, you're able to swap out 1 rune for another. And this gives you quite a bit of flexibility in trying different runes out. See what really meshes well for you, because if there's a rune that you're not activating and using all that often, well, then on your next level you can swap out for another one and see if that gets more use for you. We'll cover what the runes do specifically next time around. We have quite a lot to get through. Speaking of quite a lot to get through, Giant Smite also comes in at 3rd level. You imbue yourself with the might of giants. As a bonus action, you gain the following for 1 minute. If you're smaller than large, you become large along with all of your equipment, so your size just increases. And because all of your equipment increases in size, the amount of damage those weapons do increases as well. So let's say you're using a longsword and you're getting a d8 out of damage with it. Well, now, once you're large, you get 2d8 out of it, which is massively useful. You also gain advantage on strength checks and saving throws, so you get to roll twice and take the better result. And once on each turn, one of your attacks can deal an extra 1d6 points of damage on hit, further adding your damage output. So this all the way around is a massive boost here, and it lasts for an entire minute. That's a pretty sustained combat encounter if that's what you're dealing with. So awesome. Awesome all the way around. Then you get ability score increases at 4th, 6th, 8th, 12th, 14th, 16th, and 19th level. You want to focus on your strength and constitution. If you have high stats and you max out early in these, then switch over to your dexterity and your wisdom, or possibly charisma. Wisdom or charisma. I kind of was leaning with charisma for this initial build just for some added extra utility, but because your wisdom saving throws are important, those could take a significant amount of priority. Then you also gain extra attacks at 5th, 11th, and 20th level. Now, because of Action Surge, your attack progression and everything else that you can attack up to 3 times on your turn. Rolling a d8 weapon at an 18th strength with Duelist added in, you'll be dealing an average of 10 damage per hit. And this doesn't even count in other factors, like if you have a magic weapon, or if you have some other means of increasing your damage, like, I don't know, growing to a large size. So all the way around, you're looking at some fantastic combat potential here already, with your runes giving you other means of battlefield control. Then at 7th level, you gain Runic Shield. When a creature you can see within 60 feet is hit by an attack, you can use your Rune Magic to force them to make the attacker re-roll. Using the new result, this is usable a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, so this is where more battlefield control comes in for you, not just with the runes, but this right here. Within 60 feet, so you're probably going to be within range of most of your allies, or close to them at any rate. And then if they're hit with an attack, and say it's going to be a critical hit, this is where you'd want to use that on that critical hit to force them to re-roll. Even if they still end up hitting your ally, the fact that they are not hitting them with a critical hit is incredibly valuable to you and your party. Saves on resources, keeps everybody in the fight longer. It just prevents so much, so this is very, very useful for you and your allies. And then you gain Indomitable at 9th level, and this increases at 13th and 17th level. You re-roll a failed saving throw and you take the new result. You can't use this again till you finish a long rest. It's usable twice between long rests at 13th level and 3 times at 17th level. So for those saving throws where you're particularly vulnerable, wisdom, intelligence, possibly charisma, this essentially counts as you rolling with advantage, because you can use this ability to roll again, taking the new result. It can't be done at the same time, but if you roll and you get a 5, well, then you may as well try rolling again, because odds are you're at least going to do a little bit better, and hopefully you will succeed at that save. And then at 10th level, we come to an ability that is just not all that great. It's Great Stature. Rune Magic has permanently altered you. You grow 3d 4 inches and increase your Giant's Might damage die to a d8. So that d8 increase, it's not bad, but it's only an average increase to your damage by about 1 or 2 points of damage. And then the growing 3d 4 inches, it just mechanically does nothing for you. However, I will say that as a bit of lore, a bit of fluff, this is fantastic. I don't mind this at all. This is just one little mechanical hiccup in a class that gives you a whole suite, a whole array of abilities. So all the way around, this is still good. And then at 15th level, you gain Master of Runes. You use runes you know twice now, and can regain all expended uses on either a short or long rest. This increases the usability of your runes, which still add on so much for you. And as I said before, we'll come around to covering those next time around. And then At 18th level, we cap off with Runic Juggernaut. You amplify your rune-powered transformation. Your giant smite damage increases to 1d10, and your size increase can go up to huge now, giving an extra 5 feet of reach. This is fantastic, a great way to cap everything off for the Rune Knight. It just does a massive amount for your abilities, your damage, your reach, everything that you can do. Everything that you want to do as a fighter. But what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like today's video? Did you dislike it? Hit either of those buttons and we'll engage in discussion down below. And as I said earlier, go ahead, head on down there and subscribe to the channel. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.